Well, hello again. It's Jonathan at the Piano Lesson. And today we're going to talk about a very pretty song that I hadn't played in years called A Child is Born by Thad Jones. Thad Jones, great jazz trumpet player, played in the band. Thad Jones and Mel Lewis. Mel Lewis, great drummer. And Thad actually apparently got the idea of the tune from another great pianist, Roland Hanna, while he was on a gig with him. And he was faster to put it down on paper, and so he ended up crediting himself with the song. And apparently Roland didn't have any problem with that. He thought that was just fine, which is very nice. What it kind of brought up an interesting point, because on their gigs they would experiment a lot, as you would expect jazz musicians to do. That's the whole fun, is to try new stuff. And how did I know all this stuff? Because I'm so smart? No, because we have Wikipedia. Boy, Wikipedia, for all the criticism it gets, I think it's fantastic. And I use these opportunities, these video opportunities, recordings, to practice myself and expand and keep growing and learning new things. And why did I want to play this tune or learn this tune? Well, because one of my longtime students who lives in Madrid, his name's Pedro, he just had his 5th child. And if you collect 5, you get a free sandwich. That was a joke. But so congratulations, Pedro. I first played this tune actually when I was a teenager. I was in a band called the McDonald's Tri-State All-Star Jazz Ensemble. How do you like that for a name? What was the McDonald's Tri-State All-Star Jazz Ensemble? You say? Well, I will answer you. It was, as the name suggests, an all-star band. So and what is the tri-state area? Well, in the tri-state area consists of New York, New Jersey, and Connecticut. That's the tri-state area. And so there was McDonald's Corporation. Apparently thought it was a great idea to promote music education, and more specifically jazz education. Wouldn't it be nice if they did that now, if they did something good, And they had hired, I think it was the Rowland Corporation. The Rowland Corporation is sort of an infamous think tank. Think Daniel Ellsberg. If that name rings a bell, he was hated by Richard Nixon because he released these secret files during the Vietnam War, which became known as the Pentagon Papers. But that was the organization that organized the band, and so you had to audition for the band. And I guess as again the name would suggest, high school. We were all in high school, so 16, 17, 18-year-old guys. And we auditioned, and I ended up winning out several years in a row. Who would have thought? And it gave me a great opportunity to play with some people that I ordinarily would, might never have even met, including Lionel Hampton and Dizzy Gillespie and Buddy Rich and Mercer Ellington and the singer Connie Haynes and who else? Boy, there were a lot of people, and we got to play at Lincoln Center in New York, and I got to meet Mayor Koch in New York at Gracie Mansion, and kick off the Cool Jazz Festival, Cool with a K, which was promoting cigarettes. You can imagine high school kids promoting indirectly a tobacco company. Crazy times. But that was my first exposure to the tune, and I was extremely embarrassed when I played it, because it's a very slow tune. It's 1, 2, 3. It's kind of like a very slow waltz. And when they counted it off, the bandleader counted it off. Bandleader was Clem DeRosa, there's the name, Clem DeRosa, great jazz drummer, super nice man, super nice to me. His son Richie is still around, who's a brilliant drummer and composer. I believe he's still around. I think he was teaching in North Texas State University. He was conducting, and I think he was counting off, and I started to play it kind of like dee-dup, 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 dee-dup. And everyone sort of stopped and started laughing. And I hadn't really, it wasn't even in my concept to play a song that slow, I guess, at the time. So I suppose you could play it that way. But there's so many interesting things on Wikipedia. So the music was written separately. There are lyrics to it, written by another composer and lyricist named Alec Wilder, who had quite an interesting life, apparently. He used to just travel on trains all the time, and he never used to, he never really stayed in one place very, very long. Again, Thad Jones, Mel Lewis, Roland Hanna, all these people you can read about on Wikipedia. So I try to use this opportunity to educate myself a little bit about people that I should really know more about, and sadly don't. But it's a very simple melody, and let's just kind of take a look at that. Give you a second here, and we'll give me a second here. Okay, it's typically done in B flat, and I'm banging around here, so I'm trying to turn around on my piano. Does this work? Yeah, it does. Hello. That's Mr. Notehead. So here's the melody. It's in B flat. Right. Starts on the third of the B flat chord. So look at that construction. It's a B flat major triad, and it has a passing tone, right? This is where your music theory comes in, and it's great as soon as you can to just get rid of the music if possible. Does it again, and now here it goes up. Instead of going down to here, it goes up to an octave higher. Isn't that smart? It's such a great idea. Steps down, and then it goes back to the same note. It does it again. Now listen, E natural this time. C major, right? Goes back up to that D. Down back to the F. Very good use of notes, very, very, does it again. Now watch, skips that E flat. And finally, just the notes of a B flat chord. Here's your E flat again. Chromatic. E natural. And you could go back to the D or end on the B flat. Very, very smart, very conservative use of notes, There's a D, and let's just kind of write that out for a second. Please write out your music by hand. It's really fun. 2 flats, B flat and E flat, and you'll actually learn music, and it just feels good to do that. D, 3 counts. E flat, F, B flat. Now that's written in the key signature, so I shouldn't have to write that, right? But I'll do it anyway, just for the heck of it. Da da da. Does it again. D. E flat. Da da back down to the D. So that's kind of the architecture of it. But it really is a B flat triad in first inversion. That's really what it is. That's the melody. Now, here's the interesting thing about the tune. You have this B flat pedal tone, and it sounds like B flat major. That's very pretty, that 10th. Now the next chord, very unusual, E flat. I'm going to erase that because I kind of put this over here. B flat, B flat. Now they have B flat major 7. Okay, whatever. But E flat minor 6 with B flat in the bass. Now that's a great, really interesting chord. Here's E flat minor, here's the 6, right? Here's the B flat in the bass. So that you can consider that an inversion of the chord, Isn't that a beautiful sound? Yeah. Right? Now, when I think of E flat minor 6, I actually think of, and you may say, how could you think this way? I think of actually A flat 13 as a rootless voicing. Here's what I think of. Here's A flat 7, A flat, right? Because A flat 13 is basically A flat 7 with the 13th. Usually there's a 9th there as well. But the voicing is usually that. And look at the notes that I have. Exact same notes pretty much, except for this F. This is A flat 13. So I think of this, and then I think of this. That sound. That's one additional note that we didn't have in the basic minor 6 chord. It's a very pretty sound. You keep that. That's the 5th of the B flat. But it's also the 9th. It's the 9th of the chord. So here's what it sounds like. I've crossed over. Now, I will say that I don't really like the idea of playing major 7. It's okay later on in the tune, but I like the pure sound. I like the 6. I like that pure sound. So it goes once, twice, third time. Now instead of going down, it goes up to the D, and watch this. A minor 7 flat 5, and then D7. And they in the book they have sharp 9. You can play sharp 9. I mean, that's fine. But it goes back down to the D, but guess what? G minor. Why G minor? It's the relative minor, right? B flat major, relative minor. And 1, G minor, 4, these are the primary chords in the key, right? 4 is C minor. But if you look at the notes in the 4 chord, C minor, they're all the exact same notes that you have in the 2 chord, right? What's the difference? The only difference is you're missing that A. So keep in mind the 2 chord in a minor key, that the 7 chord, 2-7, is A minor 7 flat 5. It's virtually identical to the 4 chord. It just has one extra note. But that's what gets you to the relative minor. So we're at the relative minor, 1, 5 of 6. Sounds like totally different notes, but it's not. Okay, so you have 1, and then you're starting out with 1, and then you have this. You have this chord here, basically just B flat and E flat minus 6 with B flat in the bass. All right. So this is the 4. Oh, I'm sorry. 4 chord. Okay. There we go. Yep. Okay. And then the other important chords are G minor, which is the 6th chord, and the D7, which is 5 of 6. Right. This is a dominant chord. Right. That's our secondary. That's the secondary dominant. Why secondary? Because this is the primary, right? That's the primary key. And this is the relative minor, the G minor. Okay? So very common to find that in tunes. So we're that was listen to that F sharp. I put that by mistake. It doesn't. That is not right. Notice the D against the E flat, right? That is a flat 9, and that is the chord that's in the book, D7 flat 9, and that makes sense. Okay, if you see it as a melody note. Now that's written as F in the music, but it really is more like E sharp if you're going to consider it as a chord note. That's the sharp 9. And then this, well, that is a sharp 5. Or you could consider it a flat 13. That's okay too. We don't really usually use that term as often. But if you spell it, they spell it as a B flat in the book, so that lends itself to the flat 13 spelling. Otherwise, it would be A sharp. Sorry for all this seemingly picayune stuff, but it is important. What a sound. Now, watch it changes. G minor. The G minor now changes its function, and it becomes the 2 chord, C7. Got that E natural. And then, so it almost sounds, when I do that, when I play that C7 chord, in the key of B flat, C7 is 2, okay? G minor is 6, but together they sound as if it's, right, 6, 2, it almost sounds like it's going to the key of F, and it is kind of up a 4th, down a 5th. So let's see, C7, and then here's your still C minor. That's a beautiful sound. That sound is E flat, major 7 with F in the bass. Another way to write that chord is F7 with an added 9th, 11, and 13. And typically in that instance, when you have the 11, you don't put the 3rd in. Here's what it sounds like with the 3rd. You don't put the 3rd in. And you don't need the 5th. The 5th really just makes it sound, it just doesn't sound as good, all right? It's almost kind of like a polychord. And then hit F7. So that's the first A, the form of the tune. The form of the tune, 4, 8, 12, 16. It's a binary form. So there's 2 parts. There's A, and then there's A prime. And the first half is 16 bars, and the other half is 16 bars. So it's 32 bars altogether, which is pretty common. The first 8 is in the major. The next 8 is in the relative minor. Right? And then it does it again. almost sounds like it's going to the relative minor again. But it doesn't. It goes to the 4 chord. Isn't that amazing? It's so beautiful. It's so clever. And it does it, typically you think of going to the 4 chord from a half step above, E7 to E flat, but he goes from underneath it, dominant. Usually we don't think of that. That is just an amazing little bit of harmony there. So we have, I'll do it again, B flat, E flat minor 6, B flat, E flat minor 6. Here's your D7. That F becomes a sharp 9, sharp 5, and then the E flat. 4 chord, part of the primary chords, and then up a 4th to the A flat 6. Remember A flat or A flat 7. Remember A flat 7. Remember I told you A flat is very much like the minor 6 chord. Very, very similar, right? So they're kind of recycling the same notes. Here's right there's, if we take this C, move it down here, here's A flat 7 with an added 9th, right? If I get rid of the A flat and put the C up here, now I have E flat minor 6. It's really the same notes, folks. It's so smart. But we have B da da, E flat major 7, A flat 7, and then C minor 7 flat 5, which is very similar actually. C minor 7 flat 5. That's basically the same chord as A flat 7 with the 9th. It's more of an inversion, really. So you start thinking about these chords. You can think about them in more than one way. I'm not so sure that I'm not really convinced. E flat major 7, that's 4, and then A flat 7, and then they go to the G flat in the bass, which is 3rd inversion. This is, so I'll play that again. That's the melody note, actually. B flat chord in 2nd inversion. E flat minor 6. So you have that ascending line there. And then you have C7 again, C minor. There's your 9th. All right, I'm going to try to play the whole thing now so you can actually hear the tune. And I recommend checking out several versions. You definitely want to hear the Thad Jones, Mel Lewis version. I think another good version I like is Carmen McRae. It's a bit of a commercial album, but she's my super favorite. You could also listen to Bill Evans has a recording with what's the famous singer's name that just passed away not too long ago? Tony Bennett, right? Okay, so here's the tune. I'm not gonna stop. All right. I'll just play it simply. Okay, 1, 2, 3. So yeah. So there you have it. Hope you liked that. That was fun. I always have to have a new tune that I'm working on. I really don't like doing the same things all the time, and I like resurrecting old tunes, and you know, I just that's just me. But I hope you like that. If you have questions, let me know. This is Jonathan at the Piano Lesson, and again, shout out to my buddy Francesco over in lovely sunny Italy. And how are we doing here on time? Yeah, we're pretty much out of time. So drop me a line if you'd like. I don't, just so you know, I don't often respond to posts, partly because I used to get notifications, and now I don't even get notifications that I have the post, so I have to go back and check. But I'm not ignoring you, believe me, I'm not ignoring you. So, and you can visit thepianolesson.com for more fun-filled extravaganzas. Until then, I'm Jonathan Eder, and I will post Conway's, last Friday's Conway's jam session where I am playing and had a good time. And I will be there exclusively on the 19th. So we'll see you then. Bye-bye.